Hey guys, it's Thor Sandalwood, and today we're going to be looking at Voyager token, using astrology. And before we go into that, I really wanted to talk about the planetary situation that we find ourselves in, because I was just reading the news just right before the broadcast, and it's pretty crazy what's going on. First off, just with the markets in general, we have lumber prices; they're going through the roof. We I watch Uneducated Economist, and he's been talking about the lumber prices and essentially lumber shortages. Then we have a chlorine shortage for swimming pools. We have a chicken shortage, and that's why prices of chicken are going up. And then I saw an article today where they have the corn prices going up 50% in 2021. And recently we had this cyber attack on this oil pipeline in the eastern United States, and the price of oil is beginning to spike. So when we're thinking about cryptos and everything, we got to keep in mind, even as an astrologer, I have to look at, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. This month we have Saturn going retrograde May 23rd, and it goes retrograde all the way till October 11th. So for 5 months, Saturn's going to be retrograde. We can expect some definite volatility in the markets and in the world during this time. And then we have a lunar eclipse May 26th, okay? And that's occurring in the first house of the United States chart, which is, very crazy. Now, before we go into the presentation, I just wanted to give you guys that overview of the world situation. Let me give you guys my disclaimer really fast. This is not meant to replace advice from a qualified financial planner. I use the sidereal zodiac, not the Western tropical zodiac, in my predictions. Predictions are my interpretation of the astrological data, and the video is for entertainment purposes only, guys. So with the Voyager cryptocurrency, I do, as a little heads up to you guys, especially if you really like Voyager cryptocurrency, I see it being, for this year, it's going to be very volatile. We're going to go deeper into that when we look at the chart. But I do see the long term of Voyager not being so good, and we're going to explain all that using astrology. I know a lot of people watch the first few minutes of the video. By the way, guys, if this kind of content you like, let me go back to my presentation really fast. If this is the kind of content you guys, please like and subscribe. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers and spread the knowledge of ancient astrology to the modern world and show the modern applications. For example, we're looking at cryptocurrencies. And if you're interested in your very own reading, visit my website, thorsandalwood.com. 20% off if you put in coupon code Thor. And even more important than on these predictions with cryptocurrency, what's most important is if we looked at your own chart and we see how you're going to do financially, because that karma is going to override everything else. Do you know that even with people losing money throughout this last year of 2020 with everything that was going on in the world, do you know that there's some people that got more rich than ever during that time? So karma affects people differently. If there's a global financial crash or a market bubble pop, there's going to be people that get amazingly rich, just like people are getting amazingly rich with cryptocurrency right now. Okay, guys, we're going to use Vedic astrology to take a look at Voyager VGX token. And let's go to that slide real quick, guys. So the data I was able to get, the birth date of Voyager token is June 27th, 2017, 2241 UTC, Jersey City, New Jersey, United States. And let's go take a look at the chart, guys. So here's the chart with Voyager token. And, right away, Scorpio is going to be the male, or the introverted Mars sign, whereas Aries is the more externalized side. And you notice right away, guys, you got Saturn here. This is the first house, of course, right here. And then you got Saturn there. And usually, if this was a person's chart with Saturn being in the first house, I would be thinking someone that has, remember, if your first house always, and this is a cryptocurrency, so it's a little different. Saturn might be giving more stability to Voyager because it's in the first house. But if it was a person's chart or your chart and you had Saturn in the first house, that's what's going to be showing in your aura. So people would think that maybe you seem like an old soul, or you're a very serious, somber, hardworking type of person. That's the kind of things that Saturn means if it's in your first house. And let's take a look at these other things, guys. One of the things also I noticed is we can look at Mars, and this is kind of where I see the volatility, and I'm going to switch it back real quick. You see Mars in the 8th house, and that's kind of a volatile spot for Mars to be. And then Mars rules the first house, but it also rules the 6th house. So Mars isn't necessarily, even though it is the first lord, most of the time the first lord is always going to be a positive planet for any ascendant. But, there's some cases, like in Scorpio's case, where it could be a mixed bag because it rules the first house, the ascendant, but then, it rules the 6th house, which can be bad. So let's look a little bit more at the chart. One thing that's really kind of difficult with Voyager, and we're going to look at this, is it has a yoga called Dura Yoga, which is a difficult yoga. And let's take a look at the definition of this yoga, guys. Dura Yoga is a malefic in the 10th house and the 10th lord in a Dashtana. Okay, let's take a look at that. So 10th lord, 10th house has a malefic planet in it, and then the 10th lord is in a Dashtana house. And we're going to show you guys in the chart really fast here. So here's the 10th house here, guys. And the malefic that the yoga is talking about is going to be Rahu right here. So that's the malefic in the 10th house. And then the ruler of the 10th house is going to be the sun because it's Leo. And the sun is in the 8th house. And you guys might have saw with my thumbnail, I said evil houses activated. And it was kind of grab a little bit of attention with people. But remember, guys, those evil houses in a chart are going to be the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. Those are going to be your evil houses. When those houses are involved, it's usually not good. So let me fix that. But did you see that, guys? We got Rahu in the 10th house, and then we have the 10th lord, the sun, in the 8th house, which causes that difficult yoga for the cryptocurrency. Now, remember when we did Litecoin? Litecoin had like Lakshmi yoga and all these yogas that were really beneficial for Litecoin. And that's why I called Litecoin, even though people call it the digital silver, it really is kind of like the digital silver. And no, I'm not getting any money from them to encourage that. I just said with the chart, Litecoin looks awesome. So let's take a look more at Voyager here. Let's go back to the presentation here. But, normally you would think that, Rahu in the 10th would be a good thing for Voyager. And we'll see that, this Rahu in the 10th house, it's kind of a mixed bag because Rahu can get you a lot of status and attention because Rahu exaggerates the house that it's in. But then on the other hand, we'll see that, because the lord of Rahu's lord is in the 8th house, it can be very volatile. And we're going to see that in 2018, Voyager had a bull run. I think it got to $12. It's not even anywhere near that right now, even with this current 2021 bull run. So we're going to look at the factors of the 2018 bull run. And we'll look and see, and we'll see that Rahu was involved with that. So Rahu's kind of positive, but then when you look at the 2018 bull run, you see that it kind of went up really fast, and then within a year it was way lower than it is now in 2021. Let's go back to the presentation really quick, guys. Okay, and there's a few other things we can look at with Voyager token here. And you know, guys, when I'm doing this chart, I'm just looking at it. I'm not trying to like judge it for good or bad. I'm looking at it astrologically, this is almost like if I was giving a consultation to you, and you're asking me, hey, you know, am I going to make money this year in 2021? Like, what's going on? And so right here, Venus in 6th house, not very good for money. Sun, Mercury, Mars in 8th house. There's a lot of energy there in the 8th house. Remember, 8th house is another evil house. 6th house is evil house. 8th house is very volatile. Rahu and Moon in the 10th house. That can be good for visibility, but it has that bad yoga that we talked about, that Dur yoga, which makes it kind of a mixed bag. So let's go back. I'm gonna show you guys the chart just for a second. We're gonna look at the 8th house again, and then we're gonna look at the 6th house where Venus is, because Venus is the natural karaka for money as well. And let's just clean that up here we go. So Venus, guys, remember, Venus is always going to be an indicator for money in somebody's chart. In a lot of times, if this was, say, a man's chart, you know, Venus is going to represent marriage, the spouse, love, and it's also going to represent money. But in the case of this cryptocurrency Voyager, we think of it mainly as money. And, you know, so you have this planet which represents money, Venus, in the 6th house. It's a Dashtan. So that's why I'm kind of saying, whoa, all these Dashtanas, you know, 6, 8, and 12, those are the houses where you're going to have kind of bad things happening for Voyager or any cryptocurrency if there's a 6, 8, or 12th Lord period. Also in a chart, guys, if you're running K2, it's usually not a good period for anybody or a company or a current cryptocurrency or asset. Okay. So it's just, we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, we're going to talk about this 2018 bull run, guys. That's what I'm going to take a look at now. Let me switch back to the presentation. And I got this little graphic for you guys. That little black square there, I didn't really mean to screenshot that. But you see, you see that was the current price today was $3.90. But it got to $12 back in 2018, January of 2018. So it's nowhere even near where it was. So, I mean, to me, that already kind of shows, just intellectually, it shows me that's already a little bit of an issue, that it hasn't recovered. You would think that it would be, you know, if it was very strong, it should be going higher, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It should be going higher than the 2018 bull run, and it still hasn't gone higher than that bull run. And let's take a look, guys. So what made it have that bull run during the 2018? We're going to look right now. So that was going to be K2 Rahu Dasha. And right away, guys, K2 Mahadasha, let me tell you, I made a video on K2 Mahadasha. It's like never a good Mahadasha, okay? So it's in K2 Rahu specifically. And let me show you guys the K2 Dasha in the Dashas here. So right now, if we take a look, you'll see that Voyager, back in the 2018 bull run, it was in K2 Rahu here. So first of all, just being in this K2 period right here, or sorry, K2 is like right here, it's not a very good time to be in the first place. Like if you're running K2 Mahadasha, it's typically not a very good time, guys. And then so right here is where it hit that bull run. And we can see why, you know, with Rahu being in the 10th house, it was very easy to figure that out. So in 2018, Even though it was in K2 Mahadasha, it entered Rahu Bhukti. Rahu expands things. It was in the 10th house, and that gave it more visibility, more public visibility. The price grew to $12. But with Rahu, Rahu tends to do the big express elevator up, and then usually things come down. So that's usually the story of Rahu. And so where is Voyager going to be right now? We're going to take a look at that in the next slide here. So anyways, guys, so the price plummeted. Back in the slide here, it says, however, the price plummeted shortly after that. Price has not ever reached back to the high on January 4th, 2018 at $12.54. Okay, and I don't think, and just as a heads up, guys, it's going to be entering Venus Mahadasha and the December 29, 2021 at the very end of this year. And it's going to be an actually very bad Mahadasha for Voyager. So I don't like giving this bad news. I always love when I have great news to give about cryptos because I'm such a crypto fan. Let me switch the slide again, guys, see if there's any other information. Sometimes I jot these notes. So the next one we're going to look at, guys, was the January 1st, 2021. Okay, so what is this current? It's in a little bit of a bull run right now. So it entered January 1st, 2021. It entered K2 Mercury, okay? And if we use K2 as the Lagna, 5 houses from is good, okay? Mercury is responsible for being Lord of 11th, Mercury is responsible for the current bull run, guys. Because it owns the 11th house, but it owns the 8th house. Good until end of year, but no longer after that, okay? Let's go take a look at the Dasha chart, and I'll show you guys, so you guys can also learn too, right? You're learning Vedic astrology as you do this. The Mahadashas, guys, those are so important. That is the most important thing. That's why I always encourage everybody to get your own chart read. You got to know what Mahadasha and Bhukti you're in, because that means everything. But, we see right here, and let me clean up this chart a little bit, is that where is it? It's in this period right here. But look, it's going to be entering Venus in the end of the year. Okay, so this is a very short time period for it. Oops, let me switch back. So we're going to take a look at the chart just to see, okay, well, what is Mercury rule? Why is it having this little bit of a bull run that we're seeing? So let's go back to the chart, guys, and I'm going to clean that up first before I show it. And we'll see, that it is having a bull run because there's some good things happening. And that's why, if you hold on to it right now, I'm just saying, be aware that because of the 8th house lordship that's happening right now, it's just be wary, okay? Because we're seeing the price went up and it's kind of doing an up, down thing right now. It's not like Ethereum, where Ethereum yesterday hit 4,000. So let's go back. And so Mercury Bhukti for Voyager cryptocurrency, Mercury is in the 8th house. It's in its own house, which is typically good for a planet. It's very awake, right? And Mercury owns the 8th house of Gemini, and then it owns the 11th house of Virgo. So we see that the 11th house is going to be where you make that money. And that's why we're having the current smaller bull run. It was bigger back in 2018. But because the 11th house and it has Jupiter, which expands things, that's what we're seeing now. And then the 8th house, guys, it is a Dashtana, but it is associated with a sudden things. So the 8th house can be a sudden rise, something very sudden. Sudden rise, but because the 8th house is volatile, even though it owns the 11th house, that's what makes me go, okay, I'm a little bit worried about this because there could be a sudden fall because of the 8th house lordship there. And let's take, and that's going to go all the way till the end of the year, guys. So I think this bull run, if there's any more bull run, it's going to be, I think it's going to end at definitely by the end of the year. The Voyager's trajectory is going to be over. All right, let's switch back to this. And I think I had one more slide to show you guys with that whole situation. Okay, not really. So that's the thing about this whole eighth house lordship is what's got me really worried. And next we're going to look into the Venus Mahadasha, because some of you, maybe you guys are thinking, well, maybe I'll just hold on for this year, because even though it's volatile, if I hold on to it for a few more years, maybe I'm going to make a lot of money. And astrologically, I would say I don't think so. I don't think it's going to do great, guys. We're going to look at, it's going to enter Venus. Remember when we enter a Mahadasha, we enter the same bhukti of the Mahadasha. So it's Venus, okay? It enters that December 29th, 2021, and it's going to be there for several years because Venus is the longest Mahadasha. Not a good period for Voyager token. Venus is in the 6th house. Venus is lord of the 7th house and the 12th house. Sage Parashara says Venus is evil for Scorpio ascendant. And guys, Sage Parashara is one of the rishis that he made most of the observation, helped develop Vedic astrology. So Sage Parashara is like the authority of that kind of stuff. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at the dashas. There you go, guys. So end of the year, it's going to be in this Venus period. And then let's go take a look at the chart again. And I wrote Sud in there. Let me clean that a little bit. Looks kind of like not very good with all that. And so when it enters the Venus period, guys, I mean, look at it. It's going to be having Venus in the 6th house. Remember, evil house. And then it's going to be the 7th house, which is like somewhat of a neutral house. It's marriage, it's partnerships, business partnerships, and stuff like that. And then it's got the 12th house lordship. And guys, remember, 12th house is going to be associated with loss and endings. Okay? So you got the 6th house and the 12th house involved in there. So I don't see it doing good. And that's going to be for a number of years when it enters Venus period there. So let's go back. And then there's one more thing I have to tell you guys that's kind of another bad omen for Voyager. And obviously I don't have any beef with Voyager, guys, so I want to keep repeating that too, because it's like sometimes people might be like, well, maybe he doesn't like Voyager. I don't get any money from these cryptos. The only money I got is because I put $100 in Ethereum 2 weeks ago, and then last night I put $175. I bought $100 of Ethereum and then $75 of Litecoin. And yesterday I looked at my account balance and it's $300. And I was tempted to be like, well, should I just sell it and get $100? Got $100 for nothing in 2 weeks. So let's take a look at this next slide in the presentation here. The next thing we got to talk about, guys, is the Rahu transit. You guys remember that started, it actually started sooner than that. So April 6, 2021 to April 13, 2022. Transit, 7th house of Taurus. Good for business partnerships. Things turn bad when Rahu enters 6th house of Aries. Not a very good period. So that's going to be another no bueno type for Voyager, okay, guys? So we have in April of 2022, it's going to be entering that Venus period where it's in the 6th house. It rules the 12th house. Parashara says Venus is an evil planet for Scorpio ascendant. Then we have April 2022, transiting Rahu is going to be entering Aries, which is the 6th house of Voyager token, okay? So I'm seeing like bad omen, bad omen, bad omen. Now, this, Vedic astrology is a model of reality, so we still have to keep testing it and, seeing how it works with these, with cryptocurrencies. And I'm really being kind of one of the forerunners of astrologers really looking at these cryptocurrencies. So this is a totally new venture for astrologers and people in my type of work where we deal with metaphysics, looking at something like cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to be watching all this stuff very closely the next year to see how close my predictions get. So my analysis of Voyager, guys, it's a very volatile period for the remaining 2021. I just warning that you guys might be careful with it. It is at risk because of Mercury lordship over the 8th house, even though Mercury owns the 11th house, which means you can make money. Price could rise and suddenly fall. No good omens after 2021. Long-term forecast is not good, okay? Now, obviously, you guys have to do your own research, your own financial consulting, but if my birth date information is accurate, and I was looking at Voyager, and Voyager was a person, you know, everything has karma. People, corporations, cryptocurrencies, everything. Countries have karma. So if I was looking at Mr. Voyager, I would say, man, next year's not a good time for you to be making money. You know, you're going to need to, like, stay on the down low because things are going to be very volatile for this time. So right now, you know, right now for the remaining of 2021, it's going to be up down type thing. And like I said, you guys, Saturn's going to be going retrograde this month. Remember at the beginning of the video, Saturn's going retrograde. I think there's going to be some instability. We see that all these market prices are going very wild right now. People are fearing inflation. Some people are projecting deflation. So it's very crazy. Anyways, guys, that is my thoughts on Voyager token. So far in my cryptocurrency series, my favorite cryptocurrencies astrologically have been Ethereum and Litecoin. Those have been my favorite astrologically. Even Bitcoin isn't in the best periods right now. So Ethereum I saw is going to be very good. Litecoin is going to be good. And I had a lot of hope for VeChain, but VeChain ended up astrologically not being as good as I thought it would be. I was very excited about VeChain. What else? Is there any questions in the chat? Voyager coin is doing horrible. What is astrologically that shows this? Yeah, so right now why Voyager is doing horrible right now is because Mercury has that 8th lord. Mercury, it's in that K2 Mercury period right now. Even though Mercury owns 11th house, it also owns the 8th house. That's why Voyager isn't doing as good as it did back in 2018 when it got the $12. I don't see it going any further. And we're in very volatile. It could go up. It's with the 8th house lordship. It could fall flat tomorrow. That's where I'm saying, like, it could go up, but to me as an astrologer, it's too risky. It's too risky because of how sudden things could change. Especially knowing that, you know, we're still not really out of this global crisis right now. What are we going to do, you know? And let me see if there's any questions in the Ethereum and Litecoin seem promising. How about Thorchain, Rune? Is Thorchain and Rune? I can take a look at those. So this week I'm going to do a few more cryptocurrency videos. And then I'm also going to, I think I'm going to throw in either a celebrity or a politician too to mix it up because I have a lot of different types of subscribers. So I want to make everybody happy, which isn't possible, but we're trying to do it. Okay, guys? But again, you know, with your financial situation, it's always going to be the most important to look at your own birth chart. Look at your own Mahadasha, your own Bhukti that you're in, and it's going to be important to look at how the transits are affecting you. Remember, guys, there's also a special transit that's going on. Joni Patry made a video about this. There is, with transiting Saturn in Capricorn and transiting Jupiter in Aquarius, it's casting a special manifestation aspect to the sign of Libra. So everybody, you want to look at your chart and see what house the sign of Libra is, and there's special manifestations happening this year in that house for you. Let's see. No politicians, please. Well, you know, politicians, I think I'm not trying to be political with the channel anymore. Only political thing I think is I just want Age of Aquarius to show up. We need the light to win. Thor, could you please do Dash? I would be more than happy to do Dash as long as I have a birth time that I can find for Dash. I'll be more than happy. I'll take a look. Okay, so if I don't do Dash tomorrow, I will take a look in the next couple days to see if I can find a birth time for Dash and a birthday, and I will do Dash this week. Okay. Otherwise, I think I might be doing a person's chart tomorrow, and I still haven't made that decision yet. Guys, if there's not any more questions, I think we are done for today. I'm going to do a few more cryptocurrencies this week. Tomorrow we are going to do another video at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you guys check it out tomorrow. I wish you guys many blessings. Thank you guys for showing up and watching the video. If you guys are watching this video after the fact, you know, after the live recording, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Let me know. Guys, many blessings, and thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.